Hi everyone, for those of you new to the channel, I'm Teresa Perrin and I want to discuss one of my favorite tickers with you today, and that's SAVA Science, ticker SAVA. S as in Sierra, A as in Alpha, V as in Victor, A as in Alpha. If you haven't seen my previous videos on SAVA, I highly suggest you watch them, but I'm going to give you an update today in regards to what happened on Friday and what I think is going to happen going forward. Guys, I am still very, very bullish on this play. And I believe that Friday was a bit of manipulation because there was a heck of a lot more buying than there was selling. And there was a whole lot of options that market makers were looking to get screwed on. So sure enough, they had the perfect opportunity to drive this stock down and they held it down. Despite me watching that level 2 essentially the entire day because I was livid at what I was seeing. It was like watching a horror movie that you know how it's going to end up because you know that the reason they're doing it, but you just can't stop watching. Well, that was me on Friday, and hence why it took me to Sunday to make this video. So nothing I say is financial advice. Let me get that on the table. But guys, I would greatly appreciate it if you would please hit that like button. It really helps out the algorithm and gets this video out there because people need to know what's going on and what I think is going to happen this week. So let's get started. Please remember that nothing I say is financial advice and always do your own DD. And sorry, yes, I think I just repeated that, but let's get to it. Okay, for those of you new to the play, I am going to give a very quick overrun and then I'm going to discuss what happened Friday. So, SAVA. On Friday, unfortunately, we were down 17.94% after having an amazing run on Thursday. And in the after hours, we were down another 40 cents. But guys, as you can see, the pattern that this is making here is a lot of consolidation. So basically, after that massive drop that we had in the morning based on the AK that I will go over, we continue to consolidate pretty much throughout the day with a little dip down. And if you look at it, you could actually say that it kind of made an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? If you take a look here from that dip down and then back up to another shoulder, which is why I am bullish going into this week. But going back, I want to remind you that even though we were down Friday, we were up 35.27% or $10.82 in the entire past week. That's huge, guys. And we left a huge gap fill to the upside that needs to get filled. And I think I wrote it down here. Let me see. The gap fill on SAVA is from $44.62 up to $47.63. So it's essentially a $3.01 gap that I believe we see get filled back to the upside this week. And guys, on the entire month, we're up 52.9%. Oh, and in the past year, we are down $17.90 or 30.13%. And I'm telling you this not to be a bear because I'm a bull on SAVA, but I'm telling you this because there's a long way up to still go, right? And also to show you that we don't really have any real resistance because we pushed right through that $42 level previously. And I believe that we do again on Monday with ease. So I don't think that's going to meet us as resistance. The next level I'm looking at as resistance is at $62.49. And as you can see, it's not a very strong resistance, but it is a resistance. So we need to be mindful of it. But guys, that's, over $20, $21 essentially until we get back to that level. So that's a pretty good move up. And then that's where I think we may meet some resistance. Now, again, can we push right through? Well, if we're squeezing, absolutely we can. And just to remind you that for those of you that look at the long-term spectrum, if you had invested in SAVA 5 years ago, you would be up 897% in 5 years. That is huge. And still with all this room to run. Unbelievable, guys. That's just to show you that where your money can take you. Now, as far as why I'm bullish going into Monday, as you can see here, the RSI is curling back to the upside as well as the MACD. So I do believe that we are going to continue that move to the upside. And you can actually see the inverse head and shoulders a lot better on this picture. Do we consolidate slightly more before we move up? That's completely possible. Or we may just open up and make that move to the upside. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, could we go down before we go up? Guys, anything's possible in this market. I think we've all learned that. But I am very, very bullish going into Monday. Now, here's what happened on Friday. Actually, let me start with this. Here's the 8K filing that came out. And it said, as of September 22nd, the company has not received any termination letter or the like from any government agency regarding any confidential requests for corporate information and documentation. The company is unable to establish the legitimacy of communications circulating on mass media or elsewhere purportedly sent from such government agency following a request for public access to private records made under the Freedom of Information Act. The company expressly disclaims any obligation to respond to any reports or otherwise related to the topic. So, essentially, guys, they're trying to say that they did not get a letter of termination regarding the investigation. So, could they get that letter this week if that was in fact real and not something that someone started spreading mass media wise? 100%. Or the following week, or who knows? I don't know the time frame it takes the government to do what they're supposed to do, because we all know that they act on their own time frame. So guys, why he filed this report has to make me wonder. And I think he's just being extremely cautious due to all of the allegations set out and very transparent to his investors. And do I wish he waited till Monday to do it? Yeah, my options certainly do. But I was smart enough to take enough off the table on Thursday that even though I lost a ton of gains, I still made money this week. But yes, it was extremely frustrating, extremely disappointing. But you have to give him credit for filing this because, guys, I mean, as much as people want to talk crap about SAVA and, you know, those that believe in the Hindenburg short report and the BS that's being spread, in my opinion, I mean, fact will come out eventually, especially when we see these stage 3 trial studies. But you have to give them credit because, remember, a lot of the investors in SAVA are insiders. So they were banking on this move to the upside as well. Remember that. So if they were willing to take this loss themselves, that shows you they're in it for the long run because they believe in their drug. They believe that they have, you know, a medicine that can help Alzheimer's patients, which is why all of us are investing in this unless you're just short, you know, unless you're just, not short, unless you're swing trading it or, you know, day trading it. But if you're invested in SAVA, and guys, I'm doing both. I have had a long-term position for a very long time that I am down on, but averaged down and was actually up on. Now I'm just slightly in the red, but I did average down on it, which was great because I really believe in this company, which is why I never sold it on the way down because I know as a long-term investor, guess what? You just got to ride the waves, and that's just the way it is. Either that or I'm going to have to sit there and stare at the stock every time it makes a move up or down because I don't care because I know in 5 or 10 years, if this proves to be what I believe it is, that it doesn't matter about the interim being down. My investment's going to rocket, and I believe in that enough that I added to that position and brought my average way down. So guys, needless to say, things, you know, weren't how we wanted them to play out, but I don't think it's dead. And let me show you. Like I said, the MACD is curling up, the RSI is curling up, and we're seeing the inverse head and shoulders here. Now here is the net inflow versus the net outflow. Check this out. So the green obviously are people buying and the red are obviously people selling. And the price falls, but capital flowed in. So some capital is entering or short positions are being covered. So either shorts were starting to cover here is what they're saying, or more people were investing on this dip. This is very, very bullish. The inflow was 141.33 versus an outflow of 118.45, or a net inflow of 22.89, which is great. It means that way more people were buying than were selling. That is what you want to see. And the divergence in the price, guys, that tells me that's a bullish signal, believe it or not. That tells me that we're going to make a very nice move to the upside. I found this, and this is saying that SAVA stock launched well above the 100-week moving average on Thursday. That move, averaged near $42, may serve some type of support functioning in the coming weeks, but it is clearly no longer resistance of any kind. Rising to the $51 level is key, since this is a resistance level from December 2021 through February of this year. The area above 62 is the next resistance point. So guys, yes, we do have to get over that 51 hurdle again, but then like I just showed you, 62, and it's actually $62.49, is our next resistance spot. Bulls made a run at 62 in both late November 2021 and early February, but could not close above it on the weekly chart below. It would be easy to see the up 2% sell-off in Friday's pre-market and think the rally is over. But do not be too naive. The price action on Thursday was slow and steady. SAVA built its 35+% advance through the session, which saw heavy volumes. Unsupported spikes usually see double-digit crashes the following day, but that does not appear to be happening with SAVA. Guys, I don't think this is going to be like a crash and burn, which you can often see like they're saying. I think that, yes, we got, essentially what you want to call bad news by SAVA coming out and being truthful that they haven't received a letter as of yet, right? So that's what brought the price down. But the fact is the price should have gone up by the price action, yet it didn't. There was a divergence. So I am looking for that price to move back to the upside this week. And here we have Fintel showing us that there's still 33.69% short interest. With now we're down to 1.23 days to cover, but that's because of the massive volume, guys, that came in. There are currently only 6,000 shares available to short, and the cost to borrow rate is 51.09%. So since the price is down, so is the cost to borrow, but slightly, guys. That's still a significant cost to borrow. And as you can see, the short volume ratio has been between 46.2 and 56.6%. And we were right up towards that top level on Friday at 55.64. Because, guys, they have to use the dark pool to hold this price down on Friday. I am positive that that's what they were doing. Now, going forward, keep in mind there's only 6,000 shares available. Look at the failure to delivers. Now, again, this is not cumulative. This is not every single day they have to come up with this. This is where it stood at this time. So they may have covered some of these already, or they may not have and still have to. But guys, as you can see this week, it's in that 258 to 277,000 range, right? So look for them to be starting Monday, having to cover some failure to delivers and that price to be moving back to the upside. And remember, a lot of options did go in the money this week, even though they got rid of a lot more that wouldn't have. If people exercise those, then you're also going to be looking at the T+2 coverage for those guys. So, that puts us at Tuesday, right? Friday. Yeah. Puts us at Tuesday. So looking at the beginning of this week, we're looking for some substantial moves potential to the upside, and I am bullish for SAVA Science, both short-term and long-term. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Don't let the interim price get to you. Be careful with options because they do use them to gain capital, guys. Again, I truly believe that we should have ran on Friday. But unfortunately, things happened outside of our control. But the game, or I shouldn't say the game, the play is not dead, is what I'm trying to say. So, looking forward to an exciting week coming up, and let's see where it takes us. Take care, guys.